You're listening to Oilersnation Radio, presented by the Nation Network. Subscribe for free on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Thank you, Lisa. Welcome to Oilersnation Radio. It is the Tuesday episode of the show. Bag Milk, Tyler, Liam, Dan, no Rick. He's sick.
Oh, well.
So long, Rick.
Nice knowing you.
May you recover well, friend.
I hope he gets better soon.
He's very old, though, so I'm concerned his bones will turn into dust.
He is very frail.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I noticed that Tyler's wearing his Twisted Tea glasses from the Elks game earlier in the summer.
Yeah.
Look good.
No shame about it. They're good for this Halloween costume I'm wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Tyler, though? Can we confirm?
I'm avoid the grind today.
Liam, what do you got?
I am Charlie Brown. If you're watching on the video, you'll see my face reveal.
The reverse face.
So you have a ton of costumes at your house, right?
Yes.
What is the love of the dressing up for you? Where did this come from?
It's just a pleasurable thing.
Yep,
that's true.
That
is true. I would have dressed up had I remembered it was Halloween and cared a little bit more.
It's just a bit of fun, you know?
Absolutely, it's fun. It's great. I love dressing up.
The one day of the year where you can look ridiculous.
Disagree.
And nobody's going to say anything.
Disagree. If you want to dress up like Charlie Brown any day of the year, you come on in dressed as Charlie Brown. No one's going to say anything here.
Every time, well, this is the second time in the last month or so that I've dressed up. Remember I wore a suit a few weeks ago?
That was nice, yeah, for the draft.
Yeah.
You're a fan of it.
You should see me at home.
Just always in costume.
It's pleasurable.
All right.
Yeah.
Liam's a furry. Confirmed. Ooh. Dan, what are you?
I'm Ohio. The great state of Ohio.
Mm-hmm. If you know the joke, you know the joke.
Yeah.
I don't know the joke.
Oh, The Simpsons. Oh. It's the costume. I would have won the costume least helped by my parents.
Yep. Ralph Wiggum.
See,
I just felt out of place with you guys. I didn't dress up. The last time I dressed up Bag Milk, I was thinking Arby's. Do you remember that?
Yes. I feel ashamed I didn't dress up.
Well, actually, we can't show you on camera, but you're just a giant bag of milk today.
That's right. I'm dressed.
That actually would be a good costume, just like a white sheet over your upper body and then just milk on it.
I'm a ghost.
Or you just don't come in that day and it's just a bag of milk sitting in your chair and we put a microphone over it. Huh?
I do it via Zoom. We could just do that right now. We could put that milk jug right in that chair and put a microphone on it. No one would know.
So fun.
We always think of our best bits once the show's already started.
Once we're recording, that's when the best material comes out.
No going back on this either.
As we do every week, we're going to start off with a delicious debate for our friends at Wendy's, launching tomorrow the Wendy's Daily Face-Off Survival Pool. You can download that right at dailyfaceoff.com. You can play some games. Wendy's is letting you win real food with your fantasy teams this year, and Daily Face-Off wants to help. For those of you who smoke the competition, Wendy's is rewarding you with weekly prizes that have you savoring the true taste of victory. But if your fantasy team doesn't deliver you a W, get the new Wendy's barbecue bacon cheeseburger delivered to your door instead, so you don't have to show anyone your very real tears.
It's so good.
They are.
It's
delicious.
a good burger.
I get one on the way home.
You should get one.
I had one yesterday.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 3.
You've earned it.
Charlie needs one.
So to be ready to sign up and play Wendy's a Daily Face-Off a Survivor starting tomorrow for your chance to win weekly prizes like the new barbecue bacon cheeseburger from Wendy's, available now for a limited time.
All right.
What do you got for a delicious debate for us today, Tyler?
We are going to talk Heritage Classic soon, but we had breaking news today that has thrown off and derailed our show. The Oilers have waived Adam Erne.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And in a corresponding move, have signed Sam Gagner to a 1-year deal and will be recalling him for their game on Thursdays of the delicious debate. Is this a good move by the Oilers?
Question. The Gagner contract, Adam Erne contract, just a money in, money out?
Money in, money out.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
Bada boom.
Last game out, Adam Erne played all the minutes.
All 3 of them.
All 3 minutes and 20 seconds was Adam Erne's ice time. I mean,
games are 6 minutes. Yeah,
tough in an outdoor game to have to sit for that long.
Oh, your body must be freezing.
Yeah, my dad would have pointed him from our seats in section PP and goes, "That guy's going to get cold."
That guy's going to get cold.
I'll explain later.
So Adam Erne going down, Gagner up. I think a lot of people, your initial reaction when you see that Adam Erne's going down, Raphael Lavoie did just win AHL Player of the Week, had a Gordie Howe hat trick, is off to a flying start. my first instinct was, okay, they're rewarding Lavoie. He went down, proved he's hungry, bring him up. I'm a little bit surprised Gagner is getting the recall this early on, considering what we know about his injury. He's only played 3 American Hockey League games. Are we, they must be, but are we confident that this Gagner is NHL ready?
I'm confident that on Thursday against the Dallas Stars, he steps in, gets in a scrap, everybody erupts, Rogers Place goes bananas, Sam Gagner for the win.
I'm fairly confident that he can fill in 3 minutes of hockey more effectively than Adam Erne.
That's a better point than what I made.
And so that's where I'm at. I like, and then he brings those intangibles off the ice that we were all excited about in the offseason, you know, the coach or whatever. So maybe he comes in and changes the chemistry in the room a little bit too.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that might be the reason they don't bring up a Lavoie, is that there is some turmoil and there is still some, you know, question marks in the bottom 6. So bring up a guy that's already been in the questionable bottom 6 in this city.
I just think the line of thinking of like, oh, like he can't be worse than Erne. It's a little bit like, it's like, oh, well, yeah, like a kick in the shins is better than a kick in the balls. But like Raphael Lavoie is a nice, crisp, clean high five. Why wouldn't you take that option?
2 wins on the season, Tyler. We're going all caution to the wind here.
I'm not here to kink shame either.
Fair.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Liam, what do you make of this? Erne down, Gagner up.
Well, I'm glad Ernie's not here anymore. No offense, Adam Erne, but like, what are we doing here? I'm just tired of the Oilers just having these random ass 4th line guys just play on the team when you see teams like Vegas and Colorado and the Boston Bruins just rolling 4 lines every night and finding success. And then I just don't think Sam Gagner is the right move right now. And it's not to be disrespectful to Gagner. I think he's obviously had a great career, but he's played 3 games in the American League. From the games I watched, and Bruce Kurlock told us this the other day too on the live show, that his foot speed isn't there anymore and he's still adjusting to the game speed in the American League.
You don't have to be fast in the NHL, do you?
The NHL is a much faster league. And also, I just think Jay Woodcroft needs to get away from playing guys like less than 5 minutes. Guys need to be involved in the game. And if that's the plan with Gagner, then I'm glad it's not Lavoie, because Lavoie deserves better than that. But the others need to use every single player on their team on a nightly basis and not just rely on Draisaitl and McDavid to guide them. I don't know what Gagner is going to bring at this point in the season for himself. He did have 8 goals in 48 games last season for Winnipeg, which is pretty decent for a bottom 6 guy. He did get some middle 6, top 6 minutes. He did, okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm glad it's Gagner over Lavoie if the point is just to play him on the 4th line and barely have him on the ice.
Looking at the 6 games Adam Erne played with the Oilers, the most minutes he played was against the Nashville Predators. He played 13:06. That was the only time he broke 10 minutes. The next up was against the Rangers, 9:21, but in the Heritage Classic on Sunday, a measly 3:34.
Like, just to put it into a little bit of context, randomly cherry picking a Golden Knights game, their last one against Montreal last night, they had one player play under 10 minutes in that hockey game. It was Mike Amadio, a 4th liner. Everyone else plays north of 10. You're either contributing on the penalty kill, so you're getting regular shifts, whatever, you're getting played at 5-on-5. You're in the lineup a lot. And I just do agree with Liam. No matter who comes up, we now know obviously it's going to be Sam Gagner. You can't be having nights like you did at the Heritage Classic where, again, I know it worked and you won, but Adam Erne, 330, that rhymed. Philip Broberg, 719. Derek Ryan, 849. Dylan Holloway, 958. I want to see Gagner come up and get a fair shake is my point, because we're going to be bitching about him in 2 weeks if he's only playing 4 minutes a night.
Mm-hmm. It's fair.
I just don't think we can... We all sat here, and this isn't our fault, obviously. We don't have any impact on the team.
It might be.
But we spoke about how deep this team was, and I don't understand why Woodcroft isn't showing the belief in that.
Well, it's also interesting because when he first came up and replaced Dave Tippett, he was kind of rolling everybody.
Yeah, he was, and that's...
You remember that? There was that post game from Derek Ryan where he goes, we all have an identity, we all know what our jobs are, and blah, 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 whatever, to paraphrase.
Right, and now Derek Ryan played less than 7 minutes the other night. If you don't think Derek Ryan's an NHL player anymore, then firstly, don't sign him to a 2-year deal.
Wow.
Secondly, don't play him.
It would also probably, if we're being honest here, be a little bit different if the cap situation was a bit better. Because then you could take Derek Ryan and be like, we're sitting you for 2 games.
Yep.
Right now, it's like, if you're not working, the options are waivers or in the lineup every night. And I feel like Jay Woodcroft maybe feels like his hands are a little bit tied when it's like, okay, I can't trust these guys right now. And the Battle of Alberta, again, I'm willing to excuse the minutes thing a little bit in that game because you really needed to win that hockey game.
100%.
So you pull out all the stops to do it. But I don't know. Jay Woodcock's not in an envious position. I get it. You're going 11-7 every single night, and it'd be annoying as a head coach to have to constantly deal with that. But also, while you can't fully make, chicken soup out of chicken shit, you could certainly be a little bit better than this in terms of putting guys in positions to succeed.
You can just enjoy the taste for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're playing 11-7, then why not make your fourth line better so then you can play Draisaitl and McDavid?
Do you think maybe that's why Sam Gagner is there?
If it is, then is he like?
But then that's an argument in favor of Lavoie coming up.
Yes.
Yes.
Make Lavoie and Holloway your fourth line in air quotes and play McDavid and Draisaitl.
Here's all I can think of with Gagner instead of Lavoie. Lavoie's clearly having a good start to kick off the AHL season. Maybe they just want to keep that going and not worry about how many minutes he's playing at the NHL level. Whereas Sam Gagner, if you play him sub 5 minutes, he's really just going to be happy to be there.
And maybe that's it. Maybe it's just a stopgap. He probably is. It feels like a similar situation to what they did with Ryan McLeod, where Ryan McLeod it's a little different because McLeod played a lot of the season before, went to Bakersfield. I think he played like 15 games and then came up and played 70 plus for the Oilers in his rookie year. Maybe that's what they're trying to get Lavoie to do too. And it makes sense. And I think that's fine as well. But maybe their hands are also tied to the fact that Lane Peterson is apparently injured, according to the live chat that Tyler and I didn't know about.
Yeah, Lane Peterson didn't play in the Condors last game with a lower body injury, so maybe that has something to do with it, right? Like maybe Peterson is their guy. That's who they would have called up, but health being what it is, they've made like an organizational commitment to Lavoie's getting 15 games and then we'll reevaluate. So maybe this really was the best option. I don't know. I'm really hoping it works because, I mean, remember that year when they eventually traded him at the deadline, then it was COVID or whatever. But like Gagner was back and contributing, and it was so cool.
It was fun. It really was fun. Looking at Twitter very reasonable.
Yes,
about this.
Of course.
Never ever expected anything else. Would love to hear from you. ON Radio Podcast, Twitter and Instagram. Erne out, Gagner in. Now, I ask you this question: what do you think? But we got to try and shelve our love for Sam Gagner for this specific delicious debate. I love Sam Gagner, always will. Great Oiler. Can't wait to have him with the organization whenever he decides to hang him up. However, we're asking about today. Is this the best move? Sam Gagner up, Adam Erne down. Could it have been Lavoie? Is Lane Peterson actually hurt? He might be. Probably is. But we shall see.
Sam Gagner hit him really hard on the kneecap. Said, I get the first call up around here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Should it have been Bogle?
No.
Why not? I think he's leading that team in points. Let's have a look.
Give him 40 games in Baco, right?
I would have given Gagner 40 games too, and they called him up after 3.
Yeah, but at least Gagner's played in the NHL before, so like
obviously Lavoie's leading the team. That was silly of me. Sorry.
Why wasn't it Noel Hoffenmeyer? He's got 2 goals.
He does have 2 goals as a defenseman.
Big Hoff, they call him.
The Hoffmeister.
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't it Ben Gleason?
Could have been.
Fuck it. 10-6 or 10-8.
Yeah.
James Hamlin actually wouldn't be a horrible option too. If you look for a stopgap.
I'm really curious to see how this plays out because, I mean, the Oilers don't play until Thursday.
Yes.
How many minutes is Sam Gagner? What if Sam Gagner plays Thursday? Let's just assume he is.
Should we play the game? Write down our answers?
Yeah.
How many is he going to play?
How many minutes is he going to play? Assuming he plays Thursday, of course.
I bet they play him on the PK.
Against the Dallas Stars.
Has he done any PK before? Like, did he do it at any of his other stops? Was he doing it in Winnipeg? I have no idea.
He did it in Edmonton, didn't he?
Is he Derek Broussard? PK specialist?
Yeah, I think he might be.
I'm going to guess.
Go ahead. You go.
I'm going to say 940 is what Gagner gets in his return.
723.
Yeah, I'll go under you. I'll say 6.5.
I'll go just kind of somewhere in the middle. I'll go 7.5.
It's not good.
It's not great. We should spend some time doing prep for the show and go how do the Oilers' fourth line / depth minutes compare to everyone else?
Well, the Dallas Stars bottom 3 players last game in a 5-3 win over Columbus Dadonov played 11:31. Craig Smith played 11:34. And Radek Faska played 12:51.
Let's look at Colorado. Let's look at the ones that have like the top loaded talent. Do you know what I mean?
The highest, most played forward was Joe Pavelski at 17:49.
Oh, so they don't even kiss 20 minutes.
Yeah.
No.
They don't really have a superstar in Dallas.
But
Jason Robertson is a superstar.
Oh, yeah. But
Rupe Hintz is probably an underappreciated star.
Right? It's like, why can't the Oilers forward groups just as good, if not better than Dallas?
I think the Leafs would probably be a pretty good comparison.
Yeah, let's do that. How much is Ryan Reeves playing on tonight?
633. Holberg 748, Gregor 852, everyone else above
Jason
10.
Gregor plays for the Leafs?
Correct.
Wow.
Granted, so they're going 12-6, right? So with the Oilers, I mean, Broberg and Desharnais like split that spot. And then the three lowest forwards are pretty much the same as the Oilers, I guess. So,
but it's not good.
No, it's not good practice. I don't believe.
The Dallas Stars have been to the Stanley Cup final in the last 5 years.
Yep.
Vegas just won and they do it well. I think Colorado does it pretty well too. But the Toronto Maple Leafs can't even, they won one second round game.
Treated it like a Stanley Cup though.
Our, like comparison of like rosters right now.
I would like to know, can we pull up really quickly, like Dallas? You brought up Dallas.
Yep.
How much are they spending on their bottom six though? Are they just generally better caliber players?
Well,
I'm spitballing.
Yeah, it's like you rattled off Dadonov as one of the names. He makes 2.25. Craig Smith, 1 mil. They only have, it is a decent point. They have four forwards on their active roster making $1 million or less. Everyone else is above 2 mil. So they're spending a decent amount. Like Faxa makes $3.25 million.
How much is their highest contract there?
Pardon?
What's their highest contract on?
9.8, Tyler Seguin.
Whew.
We played.
Forgot about that one.
14.58.
Yeah, it's an ugly one. But I mean, again,
Yeah, just curious.
this does go back to the debate about if the Oilers roster or cap situation was a little bit better. Like Dallas can go 13 forwards, 7D, 2 goalies on their roster, and they still have $500K left over, right? Like they can afford to have that 13th forward, which, if we're being honest, less complaints about Adam Erne if he was spending every second night in the press box and they were just bringing him in to be a spark plug for 8 minutes. Like,
yeah, nobody would.
The issue is when you're 11-7, there is some heightened pressure. Like I like Jay Woodcroft's quote about how Ernie's the scapegoat right now. Like he's paying the price, Woodcroft said, for a bottom 5 that isn't producing at all. So this should be a bit of a wake up call to Derek Ryan, to Matthias Janmark if he were to get back in the lineup. And then I think at this point you're lumping Connor Brown, Ryan McLeod, and Dylan Holloway in that conversation as well. It's kind of getting to like it's no longer a bad 4 or 5 games and just a little tiny slow start. If you get to 10 games and you're still not doing anything, something's going to happen.
And for Dallas too, just to keep the comparison, you look at a guy like Wyatt Johnston, comparing that to Dylan Holloway.
Yeah.
Like Johnston's producing.
Scores 20 goals. He'll score you 20 goals a year.
So the Oilers have 6 players currently without a point. 5 of those 6 are forwards.
Who are the 2 defensemen, Broberg and...
Just Broberg. Every other defenseman has a point.
Yeah, I guess Vinny's a sniper now.
Vinny's a sniper. Top shelf goal.
Kulak.
Kulak, sniper.
They're getting goals from everyone except for their bottom 5 or 6 or whatever you want to call it.
It's such an issue.
So your names are, who we're talking about here, Adam Erne, he gone. Matthias Janmark, busted shoulder. What's going on with him?
Who knows?
Yeah, because you remember he left the game against the Rangers?
Yeah, and then that picture popped up with him in the sling.
Yeah, he left the game, but he came back, and then, we saw George Larocque breaking news.
So Philip Broberg is the defenseman. Connor Brown, no points. Ryan McLeod, no points. Dylan Holloway, no points.
Brown and Holloway came close in the Heritage Classic. Holloway's got to score that. Like, he just, when he goes in on that breakaway, he just didn't lift the puck at all.
Yeah.
Like, you get that puck anywhere off the ground, and it's probably going in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had him.
It is an interesting quote from Woody because Adam Erne's not the only one that hasn't got points, but he's the one to send down.
Easiest one to send down though, right? So I guess it kind of makes sense, but I do think like if we go another 4 or 5 games and Derek Ryan's not producing, it's probably next.
Yeah.
And I think you just keep chewing your way up that little order there until guys start producing.
Well, I would have to go through and look at the minutes distributed. But again, it kind of goes back to that as well. It's like if your third line is playing like 10 minutes each.
Chicken egg debate though, right? Like, are they playing bad so Woodcroft doesn't want to play them, or are they playing bad because they don't get enough minutes to get into the game?
Yeah. That's why you'd have to go back and look at the distribution from night 1 till Sunday.
Yeah.
There's only one thing better than sharing memories, and that's making new ones. Alberta Blue Cross Travel Insurance protects your memories and more. Wherever travel takes you, visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel. It is time to recap the Heritage Classic. Gentlemen, the whole city was on fire for the entire week leading up to the Heritage Classic. Cool. There was activations all around the city. Being at Commonwealth was super cool. I just want to do a recap of the Heritage Classic. Obviously, the Oilers' big win over the Calgary Flames, 5-2. The thing that stuck out to me, a couple of things. One, I was so pumped for Brett Kulak. Yeah, how cool must that have been for a hometown kid to score the opening goal of the Heritage Classic? Place went bananas. Two, thing I noticed the most, Calgary is dreadful. They are a terrible hockey team.
Oh, yeah, big time. Like when I was, on Monday doing DFO Live Owen every day, hyping up that, the Oilers feel like they're back. Feels like they got their mojo back. A lot of people were quick to point out, whoa. You did that against a pretty terrible hockey team, and it was still a 1-goal game in the third period. So maybe not. But the Flames, man, they got to look themselves in the mirror a little bit as an organization and kind of do the whole, what are we doing here? Why are we trying so hard to be mediocre?
What else stuck out to you guys from the Heritage Classic on Sunday?
Well, I mean, the whole spectacle was just incredible. Like not having been there for the first one, that's my first ever outdoor game. It was awesome.
Weather was good.
Yeah, the weather was incredible. Fans were it was like I expected more, I think, chaos than we saw. Saw one person run on the field and then got tackled.
They got like 3 strides.
Yeah, but then later on they got away and then they saw the police coming and then that was their opportunity to try and get away again. And they got into a fight with the security and security took some liberties.
Did we pop our clothes off or did the guy not even get there?
No, wasn't undressed, but he took some knees and some elbows and it was hilarious to watch.
So I wrote the GDB on Sunday, as I always do for weekend games. And my not so obvious game day prediction is we would have a streaker. He would not get far and he would get dummied by a handful of security guards. And I nailed it. Although I guess he wasn't technically a streaker.
No, yeah, not streaking.
You got to pop those clothes off.
But yeah, no, it was an absolute blast. The sight lines from up top were incredible. Yeah. Heard from people down low that it was tough to see.
I was in row 33 and I was okay.
Yeah.
But too much lower than that, I wouldn't have been having a great.
Yeah, like some people who were down in that, like whatever it's called, the twisted T zone. I heard complaints they were like couldn't see over the glass, like it was and then you'd have to turn around, crane your neck, and watch the big board behind you the whole game.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
But yeah, I was worried because when you look at your ticket and you see like row 60, you're kind of like
upper southwest corner.
Yeah, you're like, oh boy, like. Am I going to see shit? But then you get up there, like seeing the city backdrop there and then the ice, you could see the big screen. You're also just so in the moment that it didn't matter. I think the NHL and the Oilers and the Flames or whatever deserve a ton of credit for just the presentation of it. The way they made Commonwealth look, all the little activations and signs, everything about that was great.
The 2 bands, the little pond.
Yeah, the band playing in between whistles. Such a good touch.
Yeah, so good. Just everything. There was like the feel of that. Just I was a bit of a doubter, admittedly, when I saw like the layout outside of the rink, but it just everything popped really well. And as the lights went down, it got even better. The moon popped up on my side. I was on the other side of you guys. The moon comes up over top of it in the third period. Man, it was so cool.
It was a really cool day. Importantly, the Oilers won. Again, there was all kinds of stuff happening outside of Commonwealth as well. There was a lot going on. On Saturday night, Tyler and I, we went to the NHL event, saw Arkell's perform a bunch of covers. That was neat.
I went to the Fan Fest on Saturday afternoon. That was really cool. It was like just a lot of like sponsorship stuff, giving away things, but tons of free activations, players rolling around all over the place. Saw Grant Fuhr, saw Zach Hyman, saw Doug Waite, saw all of them. It was awesome.
So this goes back to the debate I've had before on this show where it's like, would you rather have the Oilers or Edmonton host a draft or an all-star game? And this was my first outdoor game. That festivity, you get that with an all-star game. You don't get that necessarily with a draft.
Especially now that the draft is being decentralized.
Yeah. So like think of that, but almost like times 10 with the number of activations for all-star. It really made me want to see this city get to host an all-star game.
Fair enough.
Although that would be in the dead of January, February.
Yeah, that would suck.
Little chilly.
A little cold.
Do an indoor fan fest, I suppose.
Nickelback was really cool.
Yeah.
The only problem I had with Nickelback, I guess, is I would have preferred the stage was already set up so that when the intermission struck, they just went out and played. We didn't have to wait the 10 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah, like we only got 11 minutes of Nickelback.
3 songs.
Feels like a bit of a waste to bring them out here, do all that hyping up, and then they play 3 songs. I would have.
Yesterday, Liam had the idea that they should have played Burn It to the Ground as the players were coming back on. I thought that was a really good idea, that kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Like if you're going to start it late, at least let it roll all the way through to puck drop.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Nickelback was disappointing. I have to say it.
Oh, okay.
What was disappointing about it for you?
They only did 2 songs on the TV broadcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
They hyped it up as if it was going to be like this little intermission show, and they played 2 songs, and one of them wasn't even this.
But isn't the halftime show only like 3 songs at the Super Bowl?
No.
No,
Yeah,
is it
that's
like
like
3 or 4?
30 minutes.
It's a
Oh, I guess I
long
don't-
show.
There was like 10 rappers came out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they could have done better with that.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm comparing it to. Or just like do both intermissions.
I see that would also been great. And again, like if the stage had just been set up and there wasn't 10 minutes of you got to haul out the lights, you got to haul out the fire cannons and shit, and they just went, we could have got easily another 2 songs in there.
Yeah.
A couple things that I had to laugh about was the fact that the clock over the replay board broke at 52 seconds left to go in the first period, and they just never brought it back again.
And then the horn went,
The horn went for the first.
and I looked, I'm like, there's 52 cent horn goes. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was all thrown off. And then the first goal, the Oilers scored 2. There was a huge delay between when the goal song kicked in and everything. And then it said Oilers goal on the scoreboard for like 5 minutes after that. It was just stuck.
I was a little bit like when Kulak scored, a big thing for me. I didn't want to get stuck in a beer line and potentially miss the first goal. Yeah. So I was sitting there. I'm like, I'm not leaving my seat until the Oilers score because I don't want to miss like this moment.
I missed Bouchard's goal.
But the first goal, Kulak, it happens. And it was just kind of like, no goal horn. The music didn't come on. The crowd kind of cheered a little bit, but you could tell a lot of people still hadn't like made it back to their seats yet. So it's just kind of like,
see, that's why it was funny because so when Kulak scored, it kind of happened, well, not right in front of me, but kind of in front of me. Mm-hmm. So my whole section, everybody stood up and cheered and started going bananas because you had a great line at it.
Yeah.
But then you could see it spreading around around Commonwealth where everybody figured it out. It was weird to watch and also funny at the same time. Yeah.
Well,
the other thing too, just sorry about the kind of in-person experience. Part of this is just Commonwealth. Commonwealth ain't built for 60K anymore.
Yeah. It's got that many seats.
Yeah.
But when they're all full, it is tough to get around.
A little bit of that was unforced errors or just errors, I guess, on the NHL Oilers part. Like putting the 2 merch stands at the 2 tightest parts and highest traffic parts of the walkways. That didn't make a ton of sense. Nope. Also, not roping off the concession and having it zigzag
perpendicular to the crowd flow.
Yeah, so that wasn't great either. So those are really my only 2 complaints. Everything else that was done really well.
I went to the one in 2016 in Winnipeg, and granted, there was 32,000 people at that one, not 55,000. So obvious difference. But in Winnipeg, they had there's a little hot dog vendor there, and it was just like a Fat Frank's kind of cart or whatever. Yeah. And they just had that there. And then there was a thing over there. And then there was like beer stands like you see at Rogers Place on the concourse. Commonwealth probably should have had that kind of thing.
Did any of you guys have to go out and have a smoke? Did you go out to the smoking areas? So in the smoking area on our side, they actually had set up porta potties. Yeah. They set up a merch stand, a food stand, and there was a Tim Hortons. There was a Tim Hortons giving out free hot chocolate. But yeah, like, so they did try, I think, but yeah, they missed on some things. I watched the concourse on our side, the one that has all the infrastructure on it, not the scoreboard. Yeah. Man, for the start of the game, that thing wasn't moving. It was just literally gridlock for like the first 5 minutes of the game.
The one on the other side was no different. Well, that's why I think maybe it was a little bit quieter for like the Kulak goal, is because I think a lot of people were stuck in gridlock on the concourse.
Well, yeah. So I tried to pull a Rogers Place move. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I want a hot dog. I want a beer. I asked my old man, you want something? He's like, yeah, if you get some food, go get some food. I'm like, okay. 5 minutes left in the first period. I get up. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go quick piss, grab something to eat. I'll be right back. I go up and like run upstairs. I walk out in the concourse. I'm like, oh, this plan isn't going to work at all. And it did not.
Oh no.
Did not. No food for me at Commonwealth. But
I found quick lines for food, but it turned out because they weren't selling beer in that line. But it worked out. I got my food. So
yeah, you want a snack?
Well, I have a little conspiracy theory about the Heritage Classic. McDavid scored. McDavid's goal should have stood.
So Tyler said you guys were talking about this on Oilersnation every day. Rewatched the replay on Twitter. I I'm in.
Yeah.
I had a bet.
yet.
I went heavier on it than I usually do on first goal scorers on McDavid to score first. And when he did that, I was like, oh my God, he scored. Oh, wait, no one's reacting. I think it was in.
Sorry, I missed this as a person who hasn't seen it.
So we slowed it down. And when you look at this, when the puck leaves, it's like going through Markstrom's 5-hole. So then Markstrom stops it initially with his right pad, but then his right pad goes fully in the net and the puck is nowhere to be seen. Like, it's definitely an assumption, but the puck then kind of comes out from when Markstrom moves as well. So clearly the NHL just didn't have any camera angles to prove that the puck went over the line. That's and was exactly like inconclusive.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that went in.
I'm fully in on the conspiracy.
Yeah, why not? NHL against Edmonton again.
I'm thinking of the play now, and it makes sense that it would have been in there. We yelled it up in our section. We're like, there's no way that didn't go in. Like, it just logically didn't make sense, but
I'm in on the conspiracy.
Where would you...
NHL wanted the game to be close because there was that, and then there was the fact that there was like 6 straight penalties all given to the Oilers.
Yeah, 2 5-on-3s in the first period.
Well, and that's the thing too, and I think that's the feather in the cap of the Oilers is that score isn't even indicative of how much they did dominate.
4-0 was the score at 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Another thing, this just it kind of was one of those ones that comes out after the fact because I was there and I didn't see it. When Kane hit Kadri near the boards and the flames start coming in and he just starts looking at him and goes, what are any of you going to do right now? I thought that was so hilarious.
Yeah. What are you going to do about it?
Because the answer was nothing.
Yeah, it really is. Except Kadri give his little look to the bench for some reason.
Kadri said when they did the mic'd up to Kane is like, stay away from the puck, bud. And then he scored.
He had 3 points that game.
Yeah. Yep.
He did fine.
There it is. Yeah. But they just breeze over it. If you were at the game and you haven't had a chance to, I highly recommend going and watching the clips of it because it is cool.
It looked cool on TV too. And I went back and rewatched.
I watched all the highlights when I got home.
It is so cool to see.
What do you think of the way Sportsnet did their TV broadcast?
At first, it was a bit close. I feel like they zoomed out a little bit at one point, but immediately I was like, oh, wow, this feels like I'm really involved in it. But one thing I don't think people realized who were at the game was the broadcast kept screwing up. But through no fault of their own, but what's his name? Craig Cuthbert?
Yeah.
Chris
Cuthbert. And
Craig Simpson?
Kirk Simpson. I combined the two. They were sat on the end that Calgary attacked twice. So they were sat on the other side of the penalty boxes. So when the play was at the other end of the ice, they couldn't see. So the amount of times they were just like, oh, and Connor Brown is the puck, and I'm like, oh no, that's Leon Draisaitl. It was like
close,
endless, and it was like through no fault of their own, but it was interesting. It was cool. I don't know. It was kind of just like watching another hockey game.
Speaking of gaffes in the arena or in the stadium, the guy that called Zach Hyman to his face twice, Luke Hyman. You get my...
Wait a minute. So who was that guy?
Not sure. Game host?
But the NHL does this for all their events. They have like...
Because it was those two bros.
Yeah, they have... I think I've seen them at All-Star.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like the guys who go around for the NHL and do event. Why that wasn't like just Chelsea or like someone from Edmonton, I don't know.
There's so many little decisions like that where it was just kind of like, why did we have to change
it?
It was one of those things where like, I wasn't sure if I was like mishearing it over the loudspeakers in the arena or whatever, but I was like, that guy just called him something weird, didn't he?
He doubled down on it at the end. He's like, thanks, Luke. And it was like, oh my God, you keep doing it.
I'm sorry, but for us, like we would know 90% of NHL players. Like if you're going to be working an NHL event, you can learn or you should know who Zach Hyman is. Not exactly a rookie on an ELC or whatever here.
Tough look.
Have a cheater card. Like,
yeah, look at
you have questions there.
He probably feels bad about the mistake, but still.
He should feel bad.
He should.
That's exactly why we're here.
Like you messed up at your job in front of 60,000 people.
Yep, good one.
Well,
and millions watching online.
Shame.
Mm-hmm.
Shame.
Yep.
Shame.
Big shame. Big shame. Anything else to go to you guys for our friends Alberta Blue Cross from the Heritage Classic on Sunday?
Well, we should talk about Vinny.
Of course, Vinny Winnie.
First goal.
Snipe.
Weirdest puck bounce I might have ever seen.
What do you top shelf?
It was like knuckle puck bounce skyward top shelf.
I've not seen that for a while, but that's what you're going to get when you let Vinny shoot from his office.
I also learned, he's devastating from his office. We all know this.
He's awful.
I also learned that the Oilers have new post game awards that they give out, and I don't understand them.
The painter and the plumber.
It's dumb as hell.
Painter and the plumber.
What is
The
it?
artist and the shit factory.
The artist, yeah. So it's like it's the person that's like offensively gifted gets the painter, and then the hardworking person gets the plumber.
What happened to the best? What we got?
But they look stupid.
That's what I would agree with. But it's no different than the turkey hat. Feels like the turkey hat to me.
Okay, but like the beret isn't like an Oilers beret. It's just like a hat. Like they went to the dollar store and were like, fuck, we play tonight. We need player of the game stuff.
It does look like something that is going to hold sweat like nothing else.
They did it against Nashville.
Yeah, I'm aware they've been doing it. I think it's dumb.
Only wins.
Twice.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I think Campbell got one and Draisaitl got the other.
Yeah.
No, it was
just a plunger.
It was Draisaitl and Ekholm. Ekholm put it on his head.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It also does set up, we made the joke on real life, it sets up for some big time meme potential down the road. Because if Vinny has a bad stretch, that photo of him with a plunger is not going to age well.
Nope.
That's fair.
Nope. But good for Vinny.
It is, and you could kind of see it coming, or you could like see the path to this. You win at the Heritage Classic. Now they do their Halloween party, and all of a sudden it's like the vibes are great around this team. Everyone's back to calm, and all they did was win one game. But if you would have won, a random game against Philly, no one would have been like, the Oilers are back. But you beat the Flames outdoors at Commonwealth, and it's like, we're good.
And dominated the Flames.
Yeah.
Like, yes, the Flames are bad. 5-game losing streak. It's too bad. Who regrets their decision more, do you think? Huberdeau or Kadri to sign contracts before they even played a game?
Huberdeau. Kadri had no choice. Otherwise, he would have had a team.
No one wanted to sign him. Huberdeau probably. But again, if you're Huberdeau, you got 70-some million in the bank now. Like if you had the kind of season you had last year and the start this year, if he was a free agent at the end of this year, he'd be not making 70 mil.
Johnny Gaudreau leaving was the best decision of that whole.
Although he's not having a great time.
But that's exactly it. But nobody notices it because it's Columbus. If he was in Calgary and still the guy, oh boy, man, that would have been a mess for them.
That's a good point.
Do you think Lindholm gets traded? Why would he want to stay?
Fantasy.
Why would they want him to stay?
I agree with you, man.
Yeah.
And like you should have cashed in and gotten first round picks for that guy and for Hanifin over the summer. You wanted to run it back and see if this group had some magic in them. They don't. They need to make tough decisions now because it's not going to be fun to trade those guys away and be dog shit for 2 years. But I think you kind of need to look at Edmonton and go, okay, if we could pick in the top 5 the next couple seasons, maybe we find our Draisaitl, we find our next Matt Tkachuk. And then when our new building opens up, we're ready to compete again. Because like, I mean, even if this team puts it together down the stretch or in the final 70 games, what are they setting up for? To lose in round 1 again?
To compete against Vegas and Edmonton. That's the thing, right? You got to get around those windows.
Yeah.
You want to, as a team now, you got to go around it.
Yep.
Just to wrap that up, in 9 games with the Blue Jackets, Gaudreau has 4 assists.
Yeah.
No goals?
Bad.
No Genos.
Hashtag bad, but
he's not good.
Quiet.
Yeah.
It's because Rasmus Anderson took out Laine. He's got no shooter.
That is true.
Nice one,
Rasmus Anderson also missed the Heritage Classic.
Good.
Nice little punctuation mark there.
But there were so many players that played that, like, when we were doing Owen Every on Monday, it was like, did Elias Lindholm play? Did you see Jonathan Huberdeau make a play in that hockey game?
I didn't know he was playing.
I noticed Kadri and Uyghur.
I noticed
Uyghur
Kadri
for
because he's
sure.
annoying.
Yeah. Uyghur, I noticed. I noticed Coleman flying a little bit, but like,
I was just looking through this Calgary's contract situation. Chris Tanev was another one I didn't really notice the other day either.
he's a UFA at the end of the year, right?
Yes, 33 years old.
Also,
I like him.
should we be surprised that Calgary was as bad as they are, given that they look like strippers rolling into the into Commonwealth Stadium? That is the weirdest outfit choice ever. Like, they really lean into the cowboy thing down there, and I get it, but like, why didn't you just dress like cowboys?
Yeah, they were dressed more like farmers than cowboys.
They were dressed like Thunder Down Under.
Magic Mike.
The Oilers killed theirs, though.
Oilers ruled.
That was awesome.
Yeah, they all looked like they were just rolling into a safety meeting at the plant.
Oh,
It was-
Yeah. And
refreshing their WHMIS certificates.
also a great little people will be offended by anything is the odd people on Twitter. I mean, like, these guys wouldn't know a hard day's work. That is a slap in the face to Albertans pretending they're blue collar workers. And it's like, yeah,
Of course, we do
baby.
know you do make the NHL by winning a scratch ticket, so no hard work put in to get there.
We also got a chuckle out of, you could tell which players it was like, you've never worn this in your life. But then you see Matthias Ekholm in it and you're like, You may have just done a shift. Like
Yeah,
you
that
might
guy-
have just gotten back.
He's someone's foreman for sure.
I said Adam Erne should keep his overalls.
Stuff.
Man,
Sorry,
it's
Adam.
like your joke set up his demise.
Well, be better.
I hope he got to keep his coveralls. They do have his name on them. You know, that's very exciting. Very, very exciting.
Will that joke be funnier for longer than his shifts were? The Heritage Classic.
Yeah.
Probably, because it already is. We got a couple days out of it so far.
Yeah, I got 2 out of it. Not bad. Not bad.
Well, let's continue on then with a little bit more Heritage Classic talk for our friends at DoorDash. I want to know, boys, who delivered? So while you're thinking, I'm going to do this ad read. Gotcha?
Gotcha.
Good.
I love DoorDash.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Read verbatim. That's what I need to read. For a limited time only, our listeners.
verbatim.
I'm Ron Burgundy. for a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order, $15 or more, when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code NATION25. That's 25% off and up to $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code NATION25. One more time. Makes it 3 times, I'm going to tell you. Remember, that's code NATION25 for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Offer valid in Canada, subject to change. Terms do apply. We start at the end of the room. Nation Dan, you are dressed as Ohio.
I am.
For DoorDash, who delivered?
Who delivered? I'm going to give it to the security guard who delivered some nice blows to the person that had introduced themselves to the field. As a former security person myself, I respect it. I understand it. He got away from you a second time. Then the free shots come in. So you get my...
Everybody gets one, but after that, you get a good licking.
Yep.
Liam, you're up next for our friends at DoorDash. Who delivered?
Evander Kane delivered.
Yes, he did.
He's been pretty good the last 3 or 4 games, honestly, probably since that tilt against Winnipeg. And I think he deserves some credit for what he's been doing for the team. He was pissed that he got sent down to the 3rd line, and now he's earned his opportunity in the top 6. And I think that's very important for this team right now.
6 points in then, if I'm doing that off the top of my head?
This season?
No, just since the demotion.
I believe at least 5.
At least 5 points.
At least 5.
Yeah.
More than none.
It feels like he really got the team started on Sunday there. Like throwing the body around, got the crowd going, got everybody going.
When I've been like tough in my criticism of Evander Kane, but I've said it now a few times. The reason I am is because like he has the ability in him to be their 3rd best player by a mile. Like McDavid, Draisaitl, Kane, big gap, everyone else, because he's got 40 goal potential. He has the ability to get on the other team's skin. He can, when he's at his best, drive play a little bit. Like, and then when it's not there, you're just like, dude, I know it's in you. Like, why can't it be this Evander Kane more?
Who delivered for you, Tyler?
I don't think we've talked enough about how good Stuart Skinner's been recently. Obviously, his season did not get off to a good start. 4 goals against Vancouver, 4 goals against Vancouver, despite not playing the full game. Like, ugly stuff. The gaff against Winnipeg, not good. Cost them a point. But then you look, and he was good against the Rangers, .906 save percentage. And then he was really good against Calgary. Not that he had to deal with too many great scoring chances, but I just felt really good that the local kid got the start from Edmonton. You know, that's a moment he's going to remember for a long time. And now it's like a fully positive memory for him. Rocking the Grant Fuhr gear. He looked sick leading the Oilers out there, and he played great. .923 save percentage, 2 goals against, couple of nice stops mixed in there. Didn't give up a goal at 5-on-5. Exactly what they needed from Stuart Skinner. You start him against Dallas. No questions asked.
What are his stats at now? I just see it. You're teasing me.
Yeah, on the season, still 863, 351. So some work to do there, but still, you're a good game away or a great game away from those getting back to a really good spot.
And speaking of a guy who looked like he belonged in those coveralls, come on. Stu looks like he belonged in those coveralls.
I think it was Evander Kane. They asked him who looked the most likely that they'd won it before. I think he said Hyman. He said the least likely was Jack Campbell.
Yeah, I see that.
Which I thought was funny. And then it showed a picture. I was like, yeah, I could see that. But he's more of an elf than a worker. Get it, Tyler?
So, yeah, okay, I see what you did there.
You looked at me as if to, what does that mean? What is
you can't tell where I'm looking with these shades on.
Well, you didn't. Your facial expression didn't move. So
for DoorDash before we bring Kennedy in. Kennedy's going to do a recap of all the Oilers Halloween costumes for DoorDash. I'm going to just give a little bit more love. We mentioned him, Vinny Desharnais. He's never going to score a lot of offense for this team, but first NHL goal. I always love when guys score their first NHL goal, regardless. I think that's a really cool moment. Not very many players have that under their belt, or just people in general. So Vinny Desharnais scoring his first goal in a Battle of Alberta at the Heritage Classic at C0mmonwealth Stadium. I loved it. And he didn't even know he scored because he wasn't first in the flyby.
Yeah, there's that. And people were like, oh, the picture after of him with the puck. Is that even the right puck? After a goal, they always take the puck out.
Every single puck gets pulled out of the game just in case it's a part of some piece of history that could play.
Every time there's a goal scored, the puck is given to the penalty box, and one of the penalty box attendants has a job to like sticker it. He has a clipboard, writes down like the authentication number, what the goal was, who the goals and assists were, and every puck is saved.
That makes sense because then you go to those charity, and you'd be like, I bought a goal puck from whatever. So,
like when a player scores 3 or 4 goals in a game and they'll get the picture with all 3 pucks, it's always actually the correct 3 pucks. It's not like there's like making it up.
And that's why they've had to do like the cut the puck in half, their share a point or that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So Vinny, you delivered for me, big guy. Sniped it. Some people may say it was a bounce on the way in, but I just see a top shelf goal. That's all I noticed.
I timed my blink perfectly when I watched the highlights. So it's a shot by Vinny, top shelf.
There you go. We're going to bring Kennedy in. She's going to do a recap of all the Oilers Halloween costumes in just a moment. We are back. Great ad.
Love that one.
Top 10 ad, I'd say.
Of all of the products you could ever hear an advertisement for, my personal belief in that one is the highest.
I'm going to use that tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Spicy boy.
You rascal.
That's going in the quote game.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
We got no games till Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
But today is a weird schedule.
But still 14 games in November. Huh?
Bizarre.
But that's why Connor scheduled his dental appointment for today.
That's a good point, actually.
Smart guy.
Yep. Is he actually at the dentist?
Yeah, he's practiced.
That's why
He didn't skate.
Really?
He had dental surgery.
Dental surgery?
Yeah.
A pre-scheduled dental surgery as per Jay Woodcroft.
Yeah. And also no photos have come out of him. No photos have come out of him at the Halloween party either.
Yeah.
So my theory is that very early on in the night, McDavid tried to open a bottle of beer with his mouth and then he had to go home. And that's that is why. That is my explanation for everything.
That's your classic dudes being dudes injury, you know?
That's all it is.
Not confirmed, but confirmed. I have our Oilers Halloween costume list. This is me and my friend. She's all garbage on Twitter. We went hard and scoured the internet to find exactly what everybody was wearing. So this is the list. This is my Met Gala.
Do you have photos of all of them lined up?
Photos? I do have photos.
So
yeah.
Maybe we can
put them up on socials.
Yes.
Yep.
Waz has been really good about throwing them up on socials as well. It's on the ON Instagram account, but we have the Dreisaitl's as David and Victoria Beckham. Iconic. We had
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Are we ranking?
If you want to rank, sure, go for it.
All right, I'm in. Hang on. Leon, very handsome. If anybody on this team could pull off the David Beckham, it would be him.
The sleeve tattoo.
I'll give it an
so
8.
good.
Very unique. Didn't see that from anyone else this year.
Yeah, I haven't either. Okay, the nurses had the Justin Bieber and the Hailey Bieber paparazzi photo with her in the red dress. He was in the yellow Crocs.
Oh, okay. I did not understand that one.
6.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 4.
5.5.
And then we had Connor Brown as Ron Weasley.
Who is Ron Weasley?
Ron.
Is that a
Ron
Harry Potter?
Weasley. I've had the puppet Potter pal stuck in my head all day because of this.
Harry Potter.
Dumbledore.
or a wizard, Harry?
That's some internet lore there for you. The Campbells were Dobby and the Golden Snitch. So there's a whole Harry Potter theme going on here.
Yeah.
I did see the video of Evander Kane giving the old nose a flick.
Yes.
That was a 10.
That
was an 11.
That was.
I don't care about Harry Potter. You get a 2 from me.
I like that one. It seemed like a lot of effort. I'll give him an 8.5.
He had a whole makeup
Jack
artist.
Campbell?
Yeah. He had a whole.
I didn't know what it was, but I like it. I'll change my.
He had a whole makeup artist and everything.
No take backs.
All right.
Yeah. Final answer. Okay. The Skinners were Men in Black.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Because I'm someone who really respects minimal effort, non-goofy costumes, and just throwing on a suit and showing up at the party is a cool play.
Yeah, they had a little like gun or whatever, and it was like, it was cute. Made sense. The CCs were Dumbledore and Voldemort, again, Harry Potter theme. Okay. The Nuges were Harry Potter and Severus Snape. Nuge with the long black wig.
You might as well be talking. You sound like you're talking about me.
Never seen Harry Potter.
This is all from the Star Trek reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm speaking a different language. The McLeods were Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Now we're talking.
That's iconic. That is an like AA plus.
Good pull. 8.5 out of 10.
Agreed. I think they win so far. The Fogels were Willy Wonka and Violet. The Bouchards were a like PGA golfer and a caddy that said Bouchard on the back.
I liked that one because again, it's a very solid. I don't like looking goofy on Halloween, but I don't want to be a buzzkill. So give me the green jacket and my caddy. Smart.
Yeah.
Sold.
Clearly, Tyler and I have two different vibes on Halloween.
Well, I dressed like Jay today, so.
I said driving here, I was like, if I can trust anybody, it would be Liam to dress up as well. So
What about it? Every year I'll be here.
The McDavid. So this is a weird one because again, we haven't seen a picture of Connor. That's the conspiracy theory that's going on right now. But Lauren was dressed up as Pebbles. So I'm kind of assuming he's probably Bam Bam. So if there is a photo, we'll throw it up on Owen socials, but that's kind of what I'm going with from the Flintstones.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Kane was Hugh Hefner and his partner was a Playboy bunny. Mm-hmm. The Hymans were, again, this is going to sound like Spanish to you, BM, but this is Lucius Malfoy and Nerissa Malfoy.
Nope.
I also don't know who those are.
They are.
Zach Hyman was a bottle of Tylenol.
Lucius Malfoy was the one that coined the hand signal "Live long and prosper."
Got it.
Sure.
Good talk. The Ryans were Wednesday Addams and Cousin It. So Derek Ryan was Cousin It, which was very funny. Very funny. Mm-hmm. And then we had we're pretty sure that the Kulaks were Wilma and Fred Flintstone. And then the Ernies were Thing 1 and Thing 2. I have yet to find a picture of the Eckholms, the Hallways, or the Brobergs.
Boy, even in a Halloween contest, Ernie's just a nameless thing.
You only got 3.5 minutes at the Halloween party.
In and out.
He was the gif of Abe Simpson walking in and walking out from the Halloween party. Poor Adam Erne's taking shrapnel all over the place there.
Yeah.
Well, at least he was invited.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
I didn't get invited.
Nope.
That's tough.
And they didn't cut him out of all the photos like they did a guy last year.
Oh, on the fishing trip. That was great.
Is that everything?
Oh, that's everything.
Thanks,
That's everything. No problem.
That was a good little recap.
Would have been really funny if it was we just saw Thing 2 in the pictures, but no Thing 1.
Yeah.
Send Waz in, Kennedy.
Waz, it's time.
Send Waz in for his signature bit. Can you clear that up for me?
He wanted us to know this is not a game. It's a bit.
It's not a game.
It's your signature segment.
This is not a game.
Right here,
Real
Waz,
life.
in the empty chair. You'll
is
notice
not
it's
a
got a
game.
microphone for you.
Empty chair.
For our friends at Greta, it is time for Waz's signature bit. Can you clear that up for me?
You didn't even shut the door, Was.
I thought I did.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Can you clear this up for me, Was?
Why didn't you shut the door?
You shut the door.
I didn't put enough strength behind it.
Didn't have anything left. I saw you running up and down the stairs. The Commonwealth. I get it.
I got tripped a bit for that on the socials.
Understandably so.
You know, people were saying it's not that cold. I'm like, well, it definitely wasn't warm either.
Do you feel like you were not dressed appropriately?
Definitely not. No.
Because my dad pointed at you as one of the people that goes, that guy's going to be cold.
Something fell.
Waz is causing a ruckus.
Tyler seems already pissed off at
Tyler
me.
is disassociating.
He's avoiding the grind all day.
All right.
I forgot to mention that, but I was at the game with my dad. It's the most dad thing ever. It made no sense at all, but it was making me laugh the whole time. We're standing there because the bus got in about an hour early. So we make our seats. We're sitting there. We're looking around, grab a beer. My dad's just pointing at people. That guy's going to be cold. That guy's only wearing a hoodie and a hat. He's going to be cold. And on the bus, when Waz got off, he goes, that guy's definitely going to be cold. Turns out you were.
I only went with the hoodie and ball cap thing too, but what you couldn't see is that I was wearing 2 sweaters under my hoodie. So I was bundled up.
I was very warm.
Yeah, you dressed really warm.
I did. Anyway.
My feet were cold and my legs, but that's it.
You were not dressed appropriately.
No, but
For our friends at Greta, they are, of course, our hospitality partner throughout the season. We had the bus to and from the Heritage Classic from Greta. Post-game party was great. Frankly, I'm glad I left because all of you guys looked like death yesterday. That's how the celebration goes after a big win like that. So we're bringing Waz in for our pals at Greta for his signature bit, Liam. Can you clear that up for me?
Well, first up on deck as clear this up for me because there's been a lot of talk on about this. I don't know if you've discussed this so far. The Connor Brown situation right now. Some fans want him waived for whatever reason. Can you explain what's happening with Connor Brown right now?
So real quick, Connor Brown hits 10 games. He will get a bonus of $3.25 million that is going to hit the salary cap next year. Provided that they don't have cap this year. I saw something
no matter what, it gets pushed.
Okay, so 3.25 next year, has no points through 8 games. People go, well, why should we pay 3.25, an extra 3.25 when he's got no points? Tyler, over to you.
For me, he's unlucky right now. Is he playing his best? No, obviously not as well. But with Connor Brown specifically, there is an element of bad luck in all of this. When he's on the ice, good things are consistently happening. Shots are going the other way. They're not giving up a lot of shots. When I see him out there as a guy who he's going to the right spots, he's doing a lot of the right things, he's just not getting the right bounces. That will change. You do not waive him at the 10-game mark and punt on this experiment because... One, you already know this bonus is coming next year. Could you prevent it? I guess. Sure. But the whole point of this was to be a win now team this year. Mm-hmm. Connor Brown is going to help you win now. You bite the bullet on that bonus. His luck will turn. Connor Brown will be fine. There's
also the added angle where your franchise signs a free agent to a 1-year contract and a bonus is this, and they waive him because of early season lack of results. It doesn't look good for you as a franchise. Not even like a bonus that's like okay, if you score 25 goals, we'll give you an extra $1 million. This was borderline cap circumvention by the Oilers. There's an opportunity because Connor Brown was hurt last year to get him for league minimum this year. He had guaranteed money offers elsewhere. Yep. This was the only way you could get him on the team this year. So to do it, it sends a really bad message. Dan?
Well, there's another issue that you covered it last episode, Tyler. It's that the guy that signed the contract, the deal for him, his agent is now his team president.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. So get that out of your head. And then also, here's a guy that didn't play hockey last year, save for what? 4 games? 4 games. And we expected him to be at NHL speed game 1 of this season. I don't get it. It's weird. We spent the entire summer talking about, since we signed him, that it's going to take some time for him to get acclimated. It's going to take some time for things to come together for him. And now we're less than 10 games into it and we're ready to punt the guy.
Liam, wrap it up.
I don't know if there's much more to really be added, to be honest. Just the Oilers aren't getting rid of him. Somebody asked it in our mailbag when the Oilers need to think about this, and I would say when the season is over
next year.
What's next, Waz?
Next up is about Raphael Lavoie. Obviously, he didn't get called up, but if he does, and when he does he deserve to be in the top 6 like automatically? Because people are saying how, if you're having him on the 4th line is just wasting his time. So where does Raphael Lavoie fit into lineup if called up?
Not the top 6. There's no room for him in the top 6. It takes a while to get into NHL mode. We're literally seeing it with Connor Brown, who we just spoke about right now. He's played over 300 games in the NHL. I think Lavoie is going to have to earn his stripes in the league, and it's going to come on the 4th line, playing probably 10 minutes a night. But luckily for him, the others play 11-7, so we'll probably see some time with Draisaitl and McDavid.
It's a little bit of my beef with all this. This whole needs to be someone better suited for the 4th line. Go look at Colorado and Vegas. These teams are not throwing scrubs on the 4th line. They're putting out guys that can play and can score and can help you win. And the whole, it's a waste to have Lavoie play only 9 minutes a night. He's not an 18 or 19-year-old rookie anymore. He's 23. At some point, just play him and get him NHL experience. We know he's too good for the American Hockey League. I wish it would have been him that would have gotten called up, even if it was in a 9-10 minute 4th line role. Let him learn the game.
Dan?
I still think the team just has some stuff to figure out. I don't think Lavoie is the bullet in the chamber that you want to use right now. So I'm okay with Gagner myself.
I was just going to follow up on what Tyler said there of the Colorado's 4th line is Jonathan Drouin, Andrew Cogliano, and Thomas Tatar.
Those are guys that can score, and a couple of them skate well. So
former Oilers too.
Yes. One of them.
I would just say, I think there seems like there's probably
Oh, I always think
he's always one of those guys that's attached to the
Yeah, it's been linked
It seems like
sometimes.
every trade deadline. Like, should the Oilers go for Thomas Tatar?
Andrew Cogliano, former Edmonton Oiler.
Still holds the record from our consecutive OT winners, I believe.
Really?
Which is 3 straight OT winners. This came up on DFO Live as like an unbreakable record. The odds of 3 straight games going to OT are slim enough. Never mind the same team winning them 3 times. Never mind the same player being on the ice for all 3 winners to score them. And the 4th game actually went to OT as well, and he missed a look.
Oh, that would have been special.
I just think there's a plan right now for Raphael Lavoie where they want him to play, I don't know, 20 games in the American League, see how it goes, and then they'll recall him. I'm thinking very much of Kyler Yamamoto a handful of years ago when he came up and finished the season on a heater. I think that's probably what they're looking to do. Let Raphael Lavoie start down there, gain some confidence. He's scoring. He's scrapped. There's a lot to like in his game right now, so I think they're just slow playing it a little bit more than we probably would like.
Mm-hmm.
Last question I have for you is a little non-Oilers related. And Dan, this goes back to when Philip was here on Friday and he was showing, which league was that?
The DEL.
Right. So the question I have here is clear this up for me. Why is there a big difference in fan culture between Canadian hockey fans and European hockey fans? For example, in Europe, they love to chant and get loud and sing. In Canada, it's like, they have the wave, a chant or two, and then it's kind of quiet throughout the game.
I'm going to check in with our resident European.
Because it's affordable. The regular fan can go to games in Europe on a more common occasion. Like tickets for the Heritage Classic were outrageous.
They were
it's like, I get it, it's a special event, but even if you just want to go to a random Oilers game, it's still
very expensive.
A few $100 each. Like people want to go and just sit there and enjoy the game. When I went to a game when I went back to England, it's a little bit of a lower league, but it cost me like £20.
Which is what, $45?
Like $40-50, something like that. And then also when you go there, you're not spending X amount on beers and all this stuff, right? Like it's affordable. And I think that's the greatest difference between the two.
One thing I did want to mention, just since you mentioned concession prices, I actually thought the Heritage Classic was really reasonable. Food and drinks.
Absolutely. The food was good. The value was good. They had a value menu option, which we haven't seen in Edmonton.
They just kept the Elks pricing, which was stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe they did that. When I went up to grab my first beer and they're like $10, I'm like, really?
I heard it was the city of Edmonton that stepped in and forced that, though. That was the rumor that I had heard afterwards. But yeah, full marks there. I would just say, just to piggyback with what you said, the football culture just comes into it, right? And the chants and the songs, that's just a part of it. And in North America, we see it here when we bring Europeans to games. They try to do stuff and North Americans look at them like, oh, what's happening here? Some people like it. Other people have no idea what's going on. And then there's the group that just think that that's cringy. And then they kind of shame it out of us. So yeah, I think that there's just a bunch of things that kind of play into it. But yeah, to Liam's point, having a standing room only area where they physically make those fans like, you have to stand and cheer and chant and have fun and be enjoying the game and that kind of thing. You just don't see that here. They're always looking at us like dollar signs.
Tyler, what's your take?
I think, and I will admit I'm fully one of these people, we're kind of just hockey snobs here, like a little bit.
Yeah,
we know the game so well as a fan base, like generally speaking, like I'm guilty of it too. Like when I'm sitting at a game, if there's a guy behind me and there's a few who sit around me on a regular basis at Oilers games, there's one guy always on the other team's goalie the whole game. And like first period, I always kind of chuckle. Then it's usually by the second period, I'm like, you know what? I've heard it five or six times, buddy. I'm good. Or people behind me yelling about the Oilers losing. Like, I don't know, maybe if there was a few more positive things pushed in by the fan base, I would be behind like that stuff more. I just find right now the people who are the loudest are usually just the drunkest and most obnoxious. So then it like sours me on all of that kind of stuff. But I just think it's the culture here. Like when the Oilers are scoring and beating the hell out of a team, it is loud in Rogers Place. It's
Playoffs are buzzing.
Yeah.
It's just the fan base doesn't get, it's a poor word to use, so I apologize. But like the fan base isn't going to be tricked into being excited. They'll be excited when they know there's something to be excited about.
So I was going to touch on that a little bit because you and I have gone games in like LA as an example. And I always find in LA, they'll cheer at the weirdest shit.
It's like a 2-on-2 rush.
And I don't really understand what they're cheering about because like Tyler said, I've played the game my whole life. I've watched it my whole life. You know the rules inside and out. You know a 2-on-2 has got a very low chance of actually turning into anything, substantial. So I think there's that. I like Liam's point about it's just crazy expensive to get in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Dan, there's the whole family for you to go to an Oilers game. It's beyond a mortgage payment. It's 2 mortgage payments.
It's not fit.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The other thing too, that is kind of funny. Just you've got me thinking about this games in the States and what they'll cheer for in a place like LA, not everywhere, obviously, but like here in Edmonton, think about how many times you've been at a game and when the Oilers are like cycling the puck for 95 straight seconds, the crowd eventually goes like, hell yeah. And like you get that little roar. That does not happen in LA.
No.
Like they'll cheer for the shots, but like a good cycle on the PK. When Edmonton like gets a big clear, the crowd usually is like, fucking right. It's great clear. Actually, you don't get that. So it is kind of interesting.
It reminds me of when Zach Hyman, like I think it was last year or a year ago, he was like doing the PK all alone basically. And everyone was getting really fired up.
Yeah.
I think another layer to it too is how far away teams are. Like Edmonton's closest team is Calgary, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have the away fans coming in every week and like giving it.
Interesting
and,
point, because like when Toronto or Montreal here, that building's always buzzing.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. But then in England, you can drive 10 minutes and be at your next, like the away stadium, and also the Oilers play 3 times a week sometimes.
Yeah.
Like maybe we're just at the point is like, well, you have 82 games in a season. Why do I want to cheer on this random Tuesday night? Where in Europe, it's like you play once a week, maybe sometimes twice a week. And every game is very meaningful because there's so little.
Which means your home games are maybe one a week, usually one every 2 weeks. So like
2 weeks.
A rare chance to watch your team. I like that too.
Another thing too, I think that Canadian teams specifically could do a better job of, that I've noticed when we go to games in the States, is just prompt the audience with cues on the screens.
I was going to say like American, and it's again, it sounds like we're talking down, but like that American, like just telling them to clap, they clap and they go nuts. Like we were in Vegas, the Vegas last season, the last game there, the Oilers were up, I think by 4 goals to start the third. And they're like, let's get this comeback going. And the crowd's going crazy. And I'm like, what comeback? You guys aren't coming back from this.
If they did that in Edmonton, people would just
That's
boo.
exactly
They'd be like, shut up.
I laughed at it as an Oilers fan. I was like, you're not coming back, but marks for trying. So,
different sport entirely, but when my first Jays game, when they play like the fight song and the lyrics are everywhere so people can join in, like maybe more of that.
The Elks do it. The green and gold song.
We're marching
Fight song.
right on this.
That's all I got.
There you go.
Thanks, Waz.
Just 3 easy. Thank you
For
so
our
much.
friends at Greta, there goes Waz.
Jesus Christ.
Good conversation, Waz.
Why do you need to move the entire chair just to get up?
It's on the mic stand over here.
It's just a disaster.
Waz is a wrecking ball.
Keeps you guessing.
For our friends at Greta, there goes Waz's signature segment. Can you clear that up for me?
His game.
Don't call it a game.
Why? Did he request for it to be a bit?
No, he said, don't call it a game. It's a sketch.
A what?
Sketch.
That would make it sound like we
pre-scripted.
That was all scripted, folks, just like this entire podcast.
Yep.
Everything is scripted. Do you guys not see the script ahead of time?
Just the NHL one.
Couple things just some housekeeping items. In 10 days, Tyler,
Yeah.
we are going down to Seattle for a nation vacation to go watch the boys play in Seattle. Then we're going to a football game and maybe an Aqua concert.
You better believe it.
Sounds like we're going to go see Aqua.
Yeah, you guys are going for show.
We're going to Aqua for sure. But what I was getting at is tomorrow, that is November 1st, depending on when you're listening to this, we are launching the nation vacation to Arizona tomorrow. Going to go watch the boys play at a teeny tiny little arena. So that'll be in February. It'll be cold in the city. Get down, a little reprieve from winter. This one is going to sell out.
Just considering how fast Seattle sold out before the start of the season, I'm thinking 2 weeks or less.
You're going to want to get on this, is what we're saying.
More
if you want to come,
this trip, but the spots are going to go faster.
If you want, like, there's never going to be an opportunity to watch the Oilers play in an arena that small.
You guys are going to take over the arena.
And I'm so pumped about it. So watch out for that tomorrow. I'll have the article at oilersnation.com. You go to nationgear.ca and book your spots. Launching tomorrow, nation vacation to Arizona.
Does it come out first thing?
Probably.
Everyone do your best howl.
Kaka?
It was all 3 of us at the same time, actually. We just were in unison there.
The other thing I want to mention really quickly is just
See, that's why chants don't work, Tyler. That's
right there.
Just everybody howling. No, shut up.
The rest of us all just stared at Tyler as he did it.
It's okay.
Maybe we're onto something here. Going back to Waz's signature bit. Can you clear that up for me?
It's a sketch.
Sketch.
Just the last thing I want to touch on is this schedule is so bizarre to me.
How bizarre. How bizarre.
I did the entire November schedule in the side office there this morning.
Yeah.
The end of the month is hilarious. We have a game every second day, and there's days off for the NHL in between where they don't play any games.
So the Oilers only have 2 games this week. Played on Sunday against the Flams, obviously. Thursday, they play against the Stars. And then on Saturday, they play against the Preds at 1 o'clock. A little matinee for you on a Saturday.
I've had enough.
Enough matinees?
1 o'clocks are fun.
No. The timing of the game is fine. It's just the schedule. It's just so ridiculous all the time. Week by week, it makes me grayer and grayer.
I have no problem with them playing 14 times in November. I love it.
All right.
It's the back half of the schedule. So if you're starting on the 20th in Florida, 22nd in Carolina, 24th is that Friday matinee. That's a 1 p.m. start. So we'll have to figure out what we're going to do with this podcast on that Friday. And then 2 days later, they got Anaheim, Vegas, Winnipeg to round out the month. So they got a lot of games there in those last 2 weeks.
I just don't get how this league can have nights off.
Yeah, that shouldn't be happening in a 32 team league.
I don't get it. It's confusing to me. That's my piece, but don't get me wrong. I would love to be a part of the schedule making at the start. I would love to be able to see the process from behind the scenes, but yeah, it's just weird.
To the NHL's credit, and I agree with you, Dan, there should be not days just without. I would love to just see the logistics of putting it all together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like just, this has got a fucking concert playing at MSG that night. So the Rangers got to play the next night or the night before. Like, I'd love to see how that works.
I've seen it from a lower league level, and I'm sure the NHL is a bit more organized, but it is like basically it's a shit show, to be honest.
It feels like it's
make everything work.
Yeah, it's like a lot of trial and error. Like, does this schedule work? No. Okay, we're going to go back and try it again.
Yeah.
But anyways.
I think it was Major League Baseball for the longest time. It was literally just like this kind of old couple who always did it like on their kitchen table. And Major League Baseball has always had if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they like did it by hand.
What?
And it was crazy. You should look it up.
Awesome.
I will look that up.
Is there like a documentary about it? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. Frank Cervalli always talks about it.
That's cool.
Other things worth mentioning. Matthias Janmark did not practice today, nor did Connor McDavid, though Tyler's got a theory about why.
We know, not a joke. He actually had dental surgery today. So,
Woodcroft.
But when was it scheduled? That's the question I have to ask.
Was he opening bennies?
It was pre-scheduled, but was it pre-scheduled during the Halloween?
Listen, I stopped opening beers with my teeth because I didn't want to break one.
Are you not supposed to do that?
With your eyes. You're supposed to with your eye.
I use my prison wallet. That's where we'll wrap it up.
Preview for Thursday night?
Might as well do a preview for Thursday night. Although we got an episode on Thursday. Or no, Friday, so we don't have to. Well, Dallas Stars, very good. Those second half of back-to-back.
Second of back-to-back, and they play Saturday as well. So the Oilers are getting that middle game of the 3 in Western Canada, which is always the best spot because it means you should get a backup. Granted, backup goalies kind of our kryptonite, but still, I'd rather face Scott Wedgwood than Jake Ottinger. So I think that's fine. Also, with the Flames being bad, I'm also a believer that when a team wins night 1 of a doubleheader, they're always more likely to lose game 2. It's like, you chill, right? You got 2 at least, so it won't be a disaster. So hopefully the Flames keep sucking. Stars roll them. They go Wedgwood. We beat them.
Dallas will win in Calgary. They'll go celebrate at Greta.
Mm-hmm.
They'll play some Mario Kart. Make their way up here for the second half of the back-to-back. It all makes sense.
I just want to see a good first period again.
I do
That's
too.
all I ask.
Love that. Love that. Dan, what's your score prediction?
I'm going to say 4-3 Stars.
4-2 win. Liam?
I'll go 5-3 Oilers empty net.
4-1 Oilers.
Love to see it. Love to see it. And that's where we're going to wrap up the podcast. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. We will be back on Friday.